Hey everybody, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today's video is all about my perfect 10. Fragrances that are perfect 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change a thing about them. And I have a huge collection and I only chose 10 for my 10 out of 10 of perfumes. Before I get started, I'm going to ask for two things. First, let us all know down below what your favorite 10 out of 10 or what you consider your 10 out of 10 fragrances down below in the comment section. And if you're a return viewer and not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would consider, joining my YouTube family, hitting the subscribe button. And if you get anything positive, you enjoy my content, I would love a thumbs up. And with that, let's get started. So today's video is the niche version. And after I'm done filming this, I will do the designer version. I frankly don't know which one I'm going to release first. It depends on how quickly I edit them. But today's the niche version. And I'm going to start off with a perfume that I haven't spoken about in a long time. It's a very, very fancy fragrance. I don't wear it all the time because it is so elegant. It's one of my fanciest perfumes, and it's from the house of Penhaligon's, and it is Cairo. And let me tell you, this is a 10 out of 10 scent. It is a perfect combination of spices, woods, and rose. This rose to me is a very different type of rose. And it smells like it has been marinating in just lovely spices, like for weeks, for months. It is just saturated in this deep, sweet spiciness. There are some gorgeous woods. I don't know if this has oud in it, but I would believe it if it does. It's very, very woody, but it's not oudy. It's not barnyard. The wood is warm. It's a warm wood, but it's not a skanky wood. And this definitely has saffron. But the saffron is more spicy. It's more spicy and less leathery. A lot of times saffron can come off smelling like leather. It doesn't in here. It just adds a lovely spiciness. And it has a gorgeous, whether the notes are listed or not, I smell incense. I smell dark, slightly smoky incense with woods. And as this dries down, it gets less spicy, more sweet, slightly vanillic, but never in the gourmand territory. It's just, oh my gosh, beautiful, very, very fancy. This is dressed to the nines. A perfume by the house of Ormonde Jayne, which I definitely think is a 10 out of 10, and this may be a floral masterpiece, is Levant. And I have a lot of 10 out of 10 fragrances, but I don't have a lot of masterpiece fragrances. And this just might be one of the masterpiece florals. So I would call it a modern floral masterpiece. At least to me, I think it's beautiful. And it smells, this perfume smells very similar to Fleur Narcotique. They're very, very similar. It also will put you in the ballpark of Valaya. Valaya, however, has a lot more musk. This is more floral, more citrusy. It has a beautiful, like a tangerine, maybe like a tangerine mandarin tanginess. The florals are gorgeous. Definitely peony, maybe a little bit of rose, musk in the dry down, like musky, woody, classy, musky, woody in the dry down. This just smells classic. It could be a definite signature scent. I mean, it's just stunning. It's a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change a thing about it. Okay, a perfume that I think is a 10 out of 10 for what it is, and yet it still didn't make my top 50 perfume video that I made last week. And I had people ask me about it, like, I can't believe Ylang In Gold didn't make your top 50. And I'm going to tell you why. Why is it at a 10 out of 10, but it didn't make my top 50? The reason is that I've been wearing this type of a fragrance for over 20 years. When I met Mr. Picky Pat like 20 years ago, I was wearing, my signature scent was Cashmere. I was, I had no money. I had no money for perfumes. I had no money for basically anything. I was going through school, going through training, and I picked that up at like TJ Maxx, and that was my signature scent. This smells very, very similarly. They have a lot of different notes, but Cashmere is the affordable version. I still absolutely love Ylang In Gold. It's one of my favorite tropical floral perfumes with coconut. It's definitely one of my favorite for the summer months, and it would be something that I would consider, wedding. It could be a wedding scent. I definitely would wear it if I was a guest at a wedding, particularly if I was at a tropical resort. And this is a perfume I would take on a tropical vacation. I've worn it forever, and it just didn't make the top 50, even though it's a beautiful, and again, it's still a 10 out of 10. So it is a tropical floral. So it has a beautiful ylang, and it has vanilla. So vanilla and ylang are the top notes in here, what I pick up the most. And when those are combined, it comes off like very banana, like a banana pudding or like a banana type of a vanilla. It has some lovely lychee. There are some fruits in here, some other soft florals, even though ylang is the most prominent. And it has a little bit of wood, some creamy sandalwood, a teensy splash of oak moss, and it's different from Cashmere. Cashmere has a little bit of a vintagey flair. It had a lot more peach. This has peach. Cashmere had like an overripe peach, and it was much more ambery, whereas the coconut here is a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more tropical. It's not as ambery, it's not as dark, and it's not as syrupy. The fruits in here are not as syrupy, but you know, for what it is a 10 out of 10 scent. Another 10 out of 10 perfume, a 10 out of 10 Orange Blossom perfume, Solar Blossom by Mise en Serre. Oh my gosh. This didn't make my signature scent video because I typically don't wear, even though Orange Blossom is one of my favorite florals, I don't wear it in the wintertime. I could, but I don't. To me, it's just sunshine and summer months, spring, summer, you know, early fall transition, but I just don't tend to pull for them in the wintertime. That's why it's not a signature scent for me, but it is a 10 out of 10. So this is a 10 out of 10 Orange Blossom vanilla scent. I would change nothing about it. So it has a noticeable orange blossom, but it's not overly sweet. Whereas Love Don't Be Shy, that to me, even though I enjoy sweet perfumes, that was too sweet. The orange blossom is present, it's clean, it's fresh, and it has a greenness to it. There's petitgrain or maybe a little bit of neroli, which can give perfumes a little bit of greenness, but it never goes into that bitter zone. It has other soft white flowers, and I want to say jasmine, and I do get jasmine, but I mean, it's just a stunning perfume. Maybe my favorite Orange Blossom scent, and a 10 out of 10. So I've got a masterpiece. Well, they're both 10 out of 10, but one of these is a masterpiece. I'm going to show it really quickly because I know a lot of you hate Baccarat 540 Team Baccarat. I think the Extrait version is absolutely a 10 out of 10. The newer versions of Baccarat 540, which I'm on my second bottle, they don't last as long, so I would have to give it like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10, even though they're both masterpieces and I love them. The Extrait is a 10 out of 10 because it has a little bit more character. There's saffron in here, and there's this really smooth almond, and the almond is not too green, so it's not bitter, and it's not marzipan-y, which I do enjoy a sweet almond, but it's right there in the middle, and then it has that, you know, that classic Baccarat 540 vibe. I know people who do not like the original 540 but love this one. So it is a 10 out of 10. I'm going to quickly talk about Atomic Rose because I talk about it all the time, but I love this scent, and it is a 10 out of 10, you know, Amber Rose. It's a beautiful Amber Rose, has one of the prettiest dry downs, very intoxicating, very addictive. Like, when I wear this, I smell it all. I'm just sniffing my arm all day long, particularly in the dry down. And it's very much, you know, it's in that Delina hemisphere or stratosphere or a ballpark, if you will. But this is kind of Delina's older, sexier sister. Has none of that rhubarb, so it's not bitter, it's not screechy, it's not sour, and it has a lot of pink pepper. So it does come out of the gates very peppery, but as that dries down and that wears off, this is just a spectacular Amber Rose and close to a masterpiece. Definite 10 out of 10, one of my most complimented scents, and men, for whatever reason, really just love it. Okay, two more 10 out of 10s that I talk about all the time. It's going to be a theme here. Lamar is probably the best, if not one of the best, pineapple-based fragrances in my collection. It's this beautiful pineapple. So it's not tropical drink. It's a very luxurious pineapple. It's a sweet pineapple on the ripe side, but it's not overly ripe, and it's not overly syrupy or sweet. Balanced perfectly with some florals, jasmine, rose, has some gorgeous spices, but it's not overly spicy. Beautiful woods, very, very long lasting. Sillage is amazing, one of my most complimented scents, lasts forever. Unisex perfume for sure. I know men who love this. I know women who love this on me, men who love this on me, and I do know men who wear this. So, and I've never smelled it on a man, but I bet it would smell spectacular. So I wouldn't change a thing about this. Another one I wouldn't change a thing about is typically a vanilla, excuse me. I just filmed a very, very long video. I filmed my signature scent video, so I'm a little bit parched, but wouldn't change a thing about this beauty right here, Eau The Audacity. Why am I not showing Baby Cat? Baby Cat is going to be in my designer 10 out of 10s because this is the niche version and this is the niche version of that profile. Another Dominique Ropion creation. He created this. He created Baby Cat. He created Vanilla Barca and Vanagloria. He created all of them, so they all smell very, very similarly with some differences. The differences are, if you wear, you know, if I didn't wear this next to Baby Cat, I would be hard pressed to pick out the differences. But when I wear them side by side, I can pick out the differences. This is a little bit more, there's something a little bit more spicy. I think this is definitely more spicy in the opening. It has more pepper. It has more incense. This is a little bit more incense forward. Again, has that leather in the background, leather suede, vanilla, you know, spices, saffron, which again goes along with, you know, kind of that leathery backbone. And this one has terrific, terrific lasting power. I think the incense in this lasts longer. The incense and the pepper lasts longer than in Baby Cat. Baby Cat, the vanilla starts to, you know, be more of a dominant note, whereas this one I can still pick up the beautiful spices and the incense and the dry down. And a perfume that's getting a lot of traction on my YouTube channel of late, well, because I'm in love with it, and it's a newer pickup, but it's definitely a 10 out of 10. I bought every single travel size from the House of Beau, and the one that stood out to me, the one that just like spoke to me the most, and the one that I don't really hear much about. It's not that popular of a fragrance, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me, Espiritu. This was in my signature scent video because this could definitely be a signature scent for me. There's something nostalgic about this scent. I can't put my finger on it. It reminds me of something from years ago, but it's not vintagey at all. It's very fresh. It's very modern. It has a spa-like vibe. It's very calming. It's very soothing. Some soft florals, rose, iris. Very, you know, it's not overly floral. It has some lovely woods. It has there's a carrot accord in here, which to me gives it a fresh sweetness. The main note, one of the main notes is a sage. It's like this beautiful, sweet sage. You know, I definitely get a little bit of oak moss in the base, something fresh, but not super earthy. And this makes me happy. There's just something so beautiful about it, and it's hard for me to describe. It's hard for me to describe, but this has a timelessness about it, just signature scent worthy. And if you were to take away all my perfumes and just left me with this, I mean, I'd be very sad, but I would be like, okay, this is a great scent. I could wear it year round, and it's just lovely. It feels like me. It's very professional. It's very chic. It's very classy. Another one I would put in kind of this quiet luxury, but it's not quiet. I could smell this on my clothes like the next day. That's how I know what I was wearing from the day before, by picking up a shirt and like, oh my gosh, that's Espiritu. It's beautiful. I think so many in the line are beautiful, but this is my 10 out of 10. I lied. I don't have 10 fragrances. I have 13 fragrances that I pulled. Okay. So I have a lot of cherry perfumes. I love cherry fragrances. I'm one of those people who I don't have a difficult time with cherry perfumes. I just find cherry perfumes very, very easy to wear. And for the most part, they are year round, but I really love to wear them in the transitional months, particularly fall, winter, and as we're moving into spring. And one of my 10 out of 10 cherry fragrances, I would call Lost Cherry a masterpiece. It's not a 10 out of 10. More so for the price and the longevity. It's going to drop down, but it is a masterpiece because it really was a one of a kind. And it was that fragrance that started the cherry, the cherry craze. But Duchessa is a 10 out of 10. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because it smells beautiful, but it's also a super original take on a cherry. It's a 10 out of 10 original cherry. It has a lot of depth. It has a lot of spiciness. It has some beautiful, it's got that cherry almond nuance. I think, cherry oftentimes smells like an almond, but this has additional almond, and the almond is not green. It moves a little bit into that marzipan-y zone without being overly sweet. Spicy. This has saffron, lots of, cooking spices, like baking spices. I want to say nutmeg. There's cloves. You can definitely, you know, detect that depth, that warm depth from the spices. But, you know, the cherry is still the star. And unlike Lost Cherry, this one is a beast. I mean, this one just lasts forever. And I think it's a little bit more elegant. It's a little bit more elegant, a little bit more elevated than Lost Cherry. It used to be very, very hard to find, particularly when I picked up my bottle, but it's a lot easier to find now. Okay, a perfume that did make my top 50 for life. One of the prettiest woody vanilla perfumes in my collection. This is Beau, and I love it so much. It's not a boring woody vanilla. It has a lot of incense, and one of the reasons why I love it is the vanilla is lovely. I love a gourmand vanilla and I love a non-gourmand vanilla, but not everybody loves a gourmand vanilla like I do. So this is a vanilla for the people who don't want to smell too foodie. This has no gourmand elements whatsoever. It's still vanillic and it definitely gets sweeter in the dry down, but this has such a beautiful realistic woody aspect. It has lots of woody notes or woody accords, so it's very, very woody. It's very, very realistic. I mean, at first it just smells like you're in the woods and someone's burning incense off, you know, in the distance. Oh my gosh, quite gorgeous. And as this dries down, it becomes a little bit sweeter and a little bit more vanillic. In fact, you know, at like hour 4 or 5, what people smell on me is more vanilla than the woods, but the woods come out and the spices and incense come out first. But it is a 10 out of 10 woody vanilla with incense. Love it. Another beautiful, spicy, woody fragrance that is the 10 out of 10. This is a masterpiece too. I'm going to do a masterpiece video. This is going to make it. You guys know I love Ivory Route. And if you're here for the first time, this is one of my favorite fragrances. It's very, very unisex, but it's a spicy sandalwood, you know, with some interesting aromatic notes and a gorgeous vanilla in the base. And vanilla's not listed. Xerjoff does not always list all the notes, but there's vanilla in here. And that's what people, again, smell on me in the dry down. Some of my pickiest critics will say, oh my gosh, you smell so good. And I'll say, what are you smelling? And they'll say, it's vanilla. I smell vanilla. But to me, you know, it's very incensey. It's very spicy, very incensey at first. When you first spray it, you're going to smell the spices. You're going to smell the incense, maybe a little bit of woods. And it's got like a basil in there, basil and patchouli, which gives it almost a camphorous, you know, thing. But then that dries down and it becomes this beautiful woody sandalwood with some spices in the background. I wouldn't change a thing about this. Interestingly enough, with all those warm notes, I still wear it in the summertime. And I think so many BDK fragrances are a 10 out of 10. I'm going to show one that I haven't shown in a long time because I think this Deep in Desire Yacht is a 10 out of 10 gourmand because it's so unique. This is like, you know, a non-overly foodie take on a blueberry muffin, but I think it doesn't have blueberries as a note. It's black grapes, but what it comes across as is a, you know, very juicy, very fruity blueberry muffin. The muffin, the starchy vanillic notes take a back seat to the blueberry or the black grapes. So pretty. You know, it's got a little bit, I want to say, of orange zest, a little bit of tea in the background. So a terrific gourmand that's not overly foodie. And, you know, it's got this like crystallized grapefruit or grapefruit shavings, some dusted hazelnuts on the top, some woods in the background. I think there's chocolate or dark chocolate listed in the notes. I really don't get that. I get this blueberry muffin, soft, very subtle nuts in the base, and a light, like a crystallized shaving of some sort of citrus, like a citrus rind on the top. Like all EBK fragrances, this one lasts for, I mean, it's a 12-hour fragrance for sure. 10 out of 10. And I have one last fragrance that I had to include in my 10 out of 10 fragrance look. I don't want to be obnoxious and plug my scent all the time, but I did want to say that my collaboration with Nevatis Vanilla Éclat with the master perfumer Christian Provenzano, the way he created this, I wouldn't change a thing about this. You know, I really wanted a perfume that had vanilla in it, but I did not want it to be boring. I did not want it to be humdrum. I did not want it to blend in the million gajillion vanillas that are out there. I wanted a vanilla with personality, with woods, that was warm and comforting, that was very, very original, but was not too out of the box. You know, that basmati rice accord, which is a prominent note to me. I get a lot of vanilla, I get a lot of basmati rice. In the dry down, I get a lot of these, of the woods, the sandalwood, there's gaiac wood in here, spices in the background, a little bit of coconut. I only get the coconut. I get like the sweet coconut cream in the beginning with some sweetness, that caramel. So it comes out of the gate, in my opinion, pretty sweet. And as it dries down, it becomes less sweet, slightly more warm, a little bit more spicy, definitely more woody. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. I will say this is a brand new perfume. This was just bottled. We were in collaboration for a year. They contacted me December of 2023 about doing this. So we have been working on it for a year. And by the time, you know, they sent me the last modification, I don't want to tell you what number that was. I might get in trouble. It was, you know, we were in October, I want to say, and they really wanted to have this out for December. They wanted to release the trio, the winter release, as you will, with Sharita and Noel. They wanted to have these 3 winter releases. So this was bottled pretty quickly. So it is a brand new scent. And just, I will say, my prototype, which is about 8 weeks older than this one, is much stronger. It used to last on my clothing for a day. Now it lasts 4 days. I wore this one morning to church at 7:30. I wore like this pullover. I came home, put the pullover back in my drawer, and I remember it was a Thursday. I pulled the pullover out. I was hit with vanilla Éclat, and that was, you know, 4 or 5 days. So it will get, if you think it's light wearing now, and I didn't want an overly beast-like fragrance. I wanted something that I could wear to work, that could potentially be a signature scent. I didn't want anything loud, too sweet, too obnoxious, too, you know, in your face. This has more of that kind of like quiet luxury vibe, in my opinion. And again, the formulation in here was the one that I loved. And I was like, we're done. This is it. It's a 10 out of 10. So I do want to thank everybody, for those of you who have gotten back to me and gotten your vanilla Éclat and really, really enjoy it. You know, the kind words have been lovely. And I know this will be included, the new releases will be included in some sort of discovery set, which should be coming out soon for those of you who really want to try it. So that was it. 13 of my 10 out of 10 fragrances niche version in my collection. If you haven't done it already, let us all know down below what some of your 10 out of 10 fragrances are in the niche world, if you have any or you want to share with us. If you liked my content, if you liked this video, I would love a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed, I would love for you to consider joining my fragrance YouTube community. Thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who always leaves me nice comments. I love chit-chatting with you and getting to know you in the comments. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.